Joining me right now is Wolfpack Research founder and chief investment officer, Dan David. Dan, it's great to have you. Thanks very much for being here this morning. What are your thoughts on Apple Daily and what we saw take place? How does this play out?
First of all, thank you for having me back, Maria. It's always good to be here. I just want to say my thoughts with Jimmy Lai and his family. This is a freedom fighter like we've not seen in our country in decades. Putting it all on the line, going to jail, probably never getting out, losing his business, and Apple Daily's done. Freedom of speech is over in China. There is no longer one country, two systems. It is now one country, one system, and they are not putting up with any kind of freedom of speech in China any longer. They've made that very clear.
Well, I agree with you, and I don't understand where is the outrage. During this COVID pandemic, the Chinese Communist Party has used this pandemic to gain more ground. It went into Hong Kong and started throwing people in jail with their goose step police, laying down the law of this national security law as a way to lay the law down in Hong Kong. It went into India and invaded the Himalaya Mountains, killed soldiers in India. It bullied its neighbors in the South China Sea, and that's not even mentioning allowing this deadly virus to escape its borders and kill 4 million people across the world. Where is the outrage for what has taken place this last year from the CCP, from the rest of the world?
There's a bit to unpack there, getting from Hong Kong to the Wuhan virus. But yeah, where is the outrage? Where's Hollywood and the documentaries about freedom fighters in Hong Kong? This is the most undercovered kind of event. Look, we topple a dictator in the Middle East, and we go to the people of Iraq and we say, here's democracy. And they're like, what democracy? We just wanted a better dictator. You cannot give people democracy. They have to fight for it. They have to bleed for it. They have to want it. Hong Kongers are doing that, and we're doing nothing to help them. And this is just a shame.
Terrible.
And what do we think the people in Taiwan are seeing right now when we're not protecting them? And we still are giving Hong Kong special status. We still have almost $1 trillion in pension funds and money from the United States flowing into Hong Kong exchanges because of that special status. We say one thing in this administration about being hardline on China, but the money still flows. And that is just contradictory to any kind of rhetoric that's coming out there. And as far as the virus goes, now we're slow playing that this might have come out of a lab. Okay, it came out of a lab. Stop slow playing it. You know that's going to come out. Even China is now saying it came out of a lab. Only they're saying it came out of our lab. Okay, whatever. But
yeah, right.
Well,
that's the thing. It's all of this. It's all of this propaganda from the Chinese Communist Party, and unfortunately, our social media companies are taking that and running with it. As the Journal recently reported, the propaganda and the censorship that happens in China does not stay in China. The CCP is behind a lot of this, all as China is trying to dominate all of the important industries that the U.S. is trying to be in the lead of. China is intensifying its crackdown on cryptocurrency, the government ordering the country's biggest banks to strictly implement rules that restrict them from providing crypto-related services, as Chinese officials are ordering a shutdown of crypto mining in several regions of the country, effectively closing more than 90% of its Bitcoin mining capacity. Give us your thoughts on the importance of this story. And let me just call out the G7, okay? We just had a G7 meeting, and do you know in their statement, the G7 statement, they called China a challenge. Really? It's a challenge?
Yeah.
A challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, going into Hong Kong, throwing people in jail, killing all democracy and freedom, challenge. Bullying South China Sea neighbors, challenge. Killing soldiers in India, challenge. Stealing intellectual property. 1 million Uyghurs locked up right now in Xinjiang, a challenge. This is what we get from the G7 last week. Shame.
Well, I wish China still considered the G7 a challenge, but they don't. They don't consider the WTO a challenge, the G7 a challenge, or any other world agency. They've got them locked up. So that's where we are with the G7 and China, and the WTO for that matter. China is on a roll. And as we continue to be obsessed with Russia, a $1.7 trillion economy, we spend twice that in a year. If this administration has its way, we'll spend that every month. But, that economy is not bigger than Italy. And we take our eye off the ball in China, which is a huge problem. They are coming to our hemisphere. They are going to leapfrog from Africa to South America, and they are going to rattle our cage in our hemisphere. And we have to stop that from happening. And there's just no political will for that. You said that they're controlling the social media and the messaging coming out of there. I would do you one better. They're controlling mainstream media.
Yes, they are. I agree with you, Dan. Thank God for Rupert Murdoch and Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. That's all I have to say. Dan David, it's great to see you. Thank you so